I'm here to let you know that juveniles and the death penalty are not something that go hand in hand. Actually, statistically speaking, in 2005, almost all of these states had abolished that rule that a juvenile or someone under 18 could suffer at the hands of the death penalty. And the few states that still did allow it, there were three, didn't exercise their rights in the last 10 years. One of the challenges we face in this dilemma is rehabilitation versus prison time. And some of the things that I uncovered was in the Supreme Court used a Roper versus Simmons kind of like approach, which it imposed the death penalty on offenders under 18. And in that information, and this was in 2005, in that information, juveniles diminished the capabilities compared to adults. So that was one of the things that was listed in the Roper versus Simmons. They showed a lack of maturity and underdevelopment sense of responsibility, which results in impetuous and ill-considered actions. And when you think about when you were 16, would you have made the same choices you make now? There has to be a forgiveness and an allowance for these young people to grow. We live in a society right now where death is everywhere. It's in video games, it's in shows that they watch. And if you are 14 or 15, and even with the best social background, parents at home, doing well in school, sometimes when you're embedded in that much, life doesn't have as much value as it used to have. Now add in maybe social backgrounds that are not good, as in the Fernandez case, where his parents had abandoned him and he was living with a drug addict grandmother. Those video games and shows become so much a part of your reality that when he thought the doctor could wake up his brother, he really believed that. He believed that after death you get another life. It's just like in a game. So we have to allow these young people time to grow into adults. And one of the other things the court concluded is that these defendants who commit homicides while under 18 were not amongst the worst offenders, and I love this, for whom the death penalty was reserved for. So if we were to take another look at the death penalty, it was not born into the idea of putting to death 16, 17, 14-year-olds. So this segues into our next conclusion, which has to be about rehabilitation. And one of the things I uncovered about the juvenile system versus the adult court system is that there has to be a sense of rehabilitation treatment, but at the same time, the court has a responsibility to the community as well. So where do we meet in the middle? What happens when a child needs help but still cannot be facilitated into a normal community because they are considered dangerous? We have to have programs put in place that mentor these children. And one of the ideas born is to have someone who's been through the system, that has turned their life around, that has proven with her rehabilitation while they were in the prison system that they can change, that there is growth opportunity, and to build a mentor program, a strong mentor program, not one where people say we have mentors and we have 3 mentors for every 1,000 children. We need to make it a responsibility of adult criminals, as they better themselves, to change the trajectory of young people as they grow in a world that is very microwave society, very instant, very now, and there's very little mental capacity for realizing that mentality, there is no tomorrow. I think when young people commit crimes, from 1 to 10, I think that they do not understand the implications and realities of the next day. Going to prison, losing a scholarship, taking a life. I think there is little grasp on the fact that there is a finality to the decisions they make, and that is where we have to treat these young people, in that from this point on, after they are trying to be rehabilitated for a crime, that there is a responsibility you have going into the next phase of your life. There's a responsibility you have to be held accountable, and I'm not sure how we make that work. I like the idea of a person who has went through the system and made a better life for themselves really taking hold and trying to change what young people's lives become. But that means us as a community, as a society, has to step up to that plate as well. So just a little food for thought as far as what we can do to try and change things.